What if the moon is not just Earth's satellite but an ancient starship left behind after the catastrophe of a great civilization? This theory may sound fantastic, but many ancient texts, myths, and even modern studies suggest that our moon is not a natural object but an artifact of a vanished race. Egyptian priests, the initiates of Atlantis, the knowledge keepers of Hyperborea, and even the ancient Sumerians knew about it. Let's unravel this mystery. Where were the Atlanteans born? According to legends, long before the emergence of the first civilizations on Earth, a unique world existed in the Sirius system among the binary stars. This world was covered by a vast ocean, with only rare rocky islands rising above the dark waves. In these crystalline cities, built from sparkling white agate, lived a race of blue-blooded beings, the future Atlanteans. They were tall, from 2.5 to 3 meters, with translucent skin, glowing blue eyes, and fine white or golden hair. Their technologies passed even our modern understanding of science. They created flying discs capable of moving not only in the atmosphere, but also through space and underwater. They used energy crystals to power their devices and could manipulate force fields. But their world was doomed to tragedy. The approach of disaster, the wandering ice planet. About 200,000 years ago, a strange planet entered the Sirius system. It was covered in a thick layer of ice, and its gravity began affecting the orbits of nearby celestial bodies. At first, the Atlanteans did not see it as a threat, but as centuries passed, its influence grew stronger. After a few hundred years, its gravitational pull became so strong that it caused tectonic shifts, massive earthquakes, and climate changes. Anomalous tides began to flood coastal cities. The Atlanteans decided to take action. They would stop its movement. They created a giant magnetic field meant to push the planet away from their home. But something went terribly wrong. The icy catastrophe, and the fall of the Atlantean home world. When the Atlanteans activated the magnetic field, the ice planet stopped moving. However, the powerful radiation from Sirius began to melt its icy shell, releasing colossal amounts of water that poured down onto their planet. Within days, torrential rains turned their world into a global ocean. The Atlanteans retreated into the underground levels of their cities, but soon, even the highest peaks disappeared beneath the waves. A desperate plan was formed, to relocate to the ice planet, which had now lost its atmosphere and water. They began building underground cities, creating vast cave systems, water reservoirs, and artificial light sources. Their new world was illuminated by a massive energy crystal, a gift from their neighbors in the Sirius system, the ancestors of the Hyperboreans. Now, this ice planet had become their Arkansas. The Atlantean ark sets sail. Approximately 150,000 years ago, the Atlanteans, having lost their home, embarked on a journey through space. They did not know where they were headed, but their goal was clear: to find a new planet to call home. This interstellar drift lasted 500 years. During this time, new generations were born aboard the Ark, new traditions emerged, and the once great knowledge of their past became myths and legends. Finally, their Ark approached Earth, triggering global cataclysms. Massive tides reshaped continents, shifting climate zones. Thus, Earth became their new home. Unlike their ancestors, the Atlanteans could not immediately descend to the planet. They needed time to adapt. Some remained aboard the Ark, while others began colonizing newly risen lands. See here, on a new continent, Atlantis was born. Cronus, the tyrant who seized power. After arriving on Earth, Atlantis flourished. Its first ruler, Atlan, led the surviving Atlanteans in creating a great maritime empire with temples of white marble, artificial canals, and advanced technologies. The most ambitious was Cronus, one of Atlas's eldest sons. He believed he should rule Atlantis alone because he was born on the original Atlantean homeworld, unlike his younger brothers, who were born on Earth. Cronus claimed that only he carried the pure bloodline of the ancient Atlanteans and possessed the knowledge of their ancestors. But something changed within Cronus. He fell under the influence of dark forces that emerged from the depths of the Earth. These forces, known in myths as the Black Dragons or Dark Entities, had been banished underground by Hyperboreans and other ancient civilizations long before. Now, through Cronus, they sought to regain their power. Cronus isolated his brothers, eliminating them one by one. He declared that Atlantis must become the center of power and that its people must submit to a new order, based on domination, control, and military superiority. Obsessed with absolute power, Cronus even used the moon as a weapon. He understood that the moon's gravity controlled the tides on Earth, and through its manipulation, he could flood cities and force his enemies to submit. But his cruelest act was the enslavement of his own children. He imprisoned them inside the underground cities of the moon, the very tunnels and bases built by the Atlanteans during their journey through space. Cronus feared that his children would overthrow him. He knew that Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, his strongest sons, possessed great power and were supported by the priesthood. To prevent them from gaining power, he ordered that they be imprisoned within the secret complexes of the moon, where they remained for years. But Cronus did not anticipate that his youngest son, Zeus, would escape. Zeus found refuge on Crete, an ancient Atlantean colony. He was raised by a secret order of priests, who knew that one day, he would return to overthrow his father. When Zeus became an adult, he formed an alliance with the Hyperboreans, the descendants of another star-faring race who had settled on Earth long before the Atlanteans. With their help, Zeus returned to Atlantis and led a rebellion against Cronus. The war that followed was not just between people, it was a battle of ancient Atlantean technologies. Cronus attempted to unleash the power of the moon's energy crystals, intending to create catastrophic tidal waves, but Zeus managed to infiltrate the underground bases and free his brothers. After an intense battle, Cronus was defeated and imprisoned on the moon. He attempted to break free by triggering a destructive energy surge at the core of the crystal, but the energy backfired, obliterating him in a flash of light. Thus, the era of Cronus ended. But the evil he served did not disappear. End of part 1. Follow our channel for the second part.